what is the best return they can get? And I mean that from the point of the other team. Like, who is the best player that someone would feasibly give up to get Kevin Durant? Were you surprised when you saw the tweet come across, Kevin Durant has requested a trade?
No, not after everything else that we've heard about with Kevin Durant. I think for Brooklyn here, I'm excited to see how they go about this because all indications are they're going to be trying to continue to win games. That seems to be the demand. Jake Fisher yesterday reported that the Suns, they're offering Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton and picks in a sign-and-trade scenario that would send Ayton to Brooklyn. But the Brooklyn Nets want Devin Booker. That's where their demand starts. Of course, that's where it's going to begin with negotiations, and then you meet somewhere in the middle. However, demanding Devin Booker makes a little bit of sense if you consider what other teams could potentially offer. I mean, like it's possible. There's teams that have better picks than Phoenix. There's teams like Boston that could offer Jaylen Brown if they really wanted to. There's teams like the Pelicans that could offer Brandon Ingram if they really wanted to do it. So there's a lot of teams that could outbid a Phoenix Suns or a Miami Heat, the two favored teams on Kevin Durant's apparent list. So for Brooklyn here, what was the phrase Woj used? Historic haul. That is exactly what the Nets are going to be going for here with trading Kevin Durant, still an unbelievable talent.
That's what makes this so fascinating because they have to, Kevin. You know, it was printed everywhere what they're giving up to Houston. They can't.
Yeah, they can't
be
tank.
bad.
Yeah, I mean they have a pick swap. They have a pick swap next year. So theoretically, if Houston has the number 2 pick and Brooklyn has the number 4 pick, Brooklyn would still get to keep the number 4. But that's just 1 year, and it's only a pick swap. And the odds, you're not trying to lose anyway. You're trying to win.
Yeah, I mean, well, and just seeing the amount of picks, it's like first rounder pick swap, first rounder pick swap. First rounder, pick swap.
Every year.
I mean, not only can you not be bad next year, you can't be bad in 4 years. Like, you don't have the greatest asset towards a rebuild, which is your own pick if you suck. And so it does you absolutely no good. So sometimes we do see these teams and they make these trades for assets and they say, you know what? We're losing our big gun. We're just going to have to start over. Or at least get such a crazy return for it. I mean, we just saw it. In fact, this is why this happened with Houston. They just decided, all right, we're moving on from the James Harden thing. We're losing James Harden. We're getting every pick you have because that's going to be our mode of operation for the next 3-4 years. Just going to rebuild. You can't do it if you're Brooklyn. Can't rebuild. You have no choice. And so the question is, what is the best return they can get? And I mean that from the point of the other team. Like, who is the best player that someone would feasibly give up to get Kevin Durant? And that's where it becomes fascinating.
So I think it's worth going through the teams to try to figure out or try to at least, trim down the list of possibilities, because I think there's some teams that don't have enough. The Bucks being one of them, Clippers. Even if the Clippers were to give Kawhi Leonard or Paul George, they can only trade one future first. They don't have enough. Hawks, I don't think have enough. Mavs don't. Nuggets don't. Even if they were to give up Murray and Porter Jr., they can't deal enough future picks. Sixers, same thing. I don't think they have enough picks to give with a Maxey. Knicks, not happening. They're not trading him to the Knicks. I can't see a Warriors marriage happening. So those teams, you can rule them out. Probably too young to be making a move for Kevin Durant. Pistons, Rockets, Spurs, Thunder. Any disagreements there, Chris, with that group of teams?
None.
How about these teams? These ones I'm unsure about. Cavs,
The Thunder would have the most assets.
Yes, but too young of a team for KD, and he might not want to go back there either. Kevin Durant demands a trade, but he might say, you know what, I'll stay in Brooklyn if the only team offering is OKC.
Well, he doesn't have a choice in the matter.
Well, he doesn't have a choice in the matter, but Brooklyn, if he says I'd rather stay, Brooklyn might say, okay.
Can we admit that would be the funniest scenario ever?
It would be hilarious.
If Sam Presti gave if all of this since that time, and he's got 700,000 picks, and Gilgeous-Alexander, and Chet, and he's got all these young guys, and then he uses it to get Kevin Durant back.
It'd be hilarious.
Oh, my God.
It'd be comical.
Oh, my God.
All right, so some other teams, tell me what you think about these ones. Cavs?
I don't think they would.
No,
I think they now are in that mode where it's like you've got Garland, you got Mobley, and you're building it out.
I agree.
Right? Wouldn't you agree?
I'm with you. I agree. So no for the Cavs.
Okay.
Hornets?
I mean, what, LaMelo?
Yeah, I just don't. Same thing. Kings, he can be the savior there, but probably not. I just don't see the Kings trading for Kevin Durant. Magic, too young. I don't see it, despite Paolo Banchero's Instagram posts with him and Kevin Durant photoshopped into Magic jerseys. Pacers, I don't see it either. Jazz, that's confusing because they made the Royce O'Neal deal yesterday where the Nets sent a 2023 first to get Royce O'Neal to Utah. I mean, we'll see what happens with Mitchell and Gobert. I think they're more likely to be a team that trades them away and goes into rebuild mode rather than it becomes a team that's trading for Kevin Durant. So
well,
there's 10.
But here's the thing.
But they could.
It is Trader Danny, and it makes it makes you feel differently about the Utah situation than we would have maybe a year ago.
And with Utah, could they give Mitchell to get Kevin Durant? Could they do that?
Wouldn't you think it's more likely they give Gobert?
Maybe they give Gobert, but either way. So you think the Jazz are a team that we should put on the list? I'm just saying. We should consider the Jazz. We can't rule out the Jazz.
Only because of who's running the show there.
Okay.
Is a reason that I think in any of these, he deserves a level of respect towards.
Okay.
He's gotten involved in so much crap before. You know, say what you want. But they tried a bunch of different iterations before it hit with this Boston thing. Yep. They went through the Gordon Hayward thing. They went through the Kemba Walker thing. They went through the Kyrie thing. He's made trades and attained guys at every step. And he did it once upon a time, obviously, with the KG Ray Allen thing. So I think that Trader Danny getting in the mix on something, whether it's this or something else, I mean, Kevin Durant, a Jazz uniform would be just bananas, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, you were talking about something I would never have foreseen in a billion years. That's it.
So we whittled it down. We got Blazers, Bulls, Celtics, Grizzlies, Heat, Jazz, Lakers, Pelicans, Raptors, Suns, Wizards. Those are the 11 teams that I think you could argue are in the best position to trade for Kevin Durant with the picks, players combination they can offer, and have the most reason to trade for Kevin Durant, whether it's a team that's already been in the finals, the Celtics, or the Suns, a team that has finals hopes like the Bulls, the Grizzlies, Heat again, or whether it's a team like the Blazers that are trying to get back into it. The Pelicans, upside move, upgrade over Ingram and picks. Would KD want to play there? I don't know, but he'd be the savior. Could you imagine Kevin Durant going to New Orleans and helping lead that team? He'd be like the Suns getting Chris Paul, except he's Kevin Durant. The Raptors, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent, a bunch of future picks. I don't see them giving Scotty Barnes in a deal like that. Lot of good options out there, Chris. A lot of good options.
The one where it would, I guess there's a couple of them where I think it'd be his team. You know, Chicago's one that you mentioned. That's his. There's nobody that has like a deep connection to that city and that Bulls fans would run in front of a car for like they would in some of those other situations.
And right? I forgot one. Timberwolves. So we have 12 teams.
Well, and obviously that would be a Levine thing in Chicago, right? Like a sign and trade
Yes, yeah.
where you end up with Zach Levine and he ends up
Levine
there.
sign and trade
because then he's the guy. I know they've got DeMar, but then DeMar becomes like the second fiddle and he's the guy there.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. A Levine for the Bulls, a Jaylen Brown for Boston. Would you give up Jaylen Brown and picks for Kevin Durant?
I'd be scared too.
Only 2 years left for Jaylen Brown's contract, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's just been, I just think it's been out there so long, so often, with Jaylen Brown. His name's just always out there. Has been.
Yeah, but this is KD.
No. I'm saying, to your point about he's only got 2 years, right? Maybe it will just be, I love the Celtics for life. But I mean, at some point, it's like every time we talk about trades with the Celtics, his is the name that comes up. And by the way, he's the one that showed up more than the other guy in the finals. That happened.
You're right. 100.
When the lights got the brightest, Jaylen Brown's the one that showed up more than Tatum.
Yeah, I don't think every Celtics fan would be saying yes to trading Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant. The thing is, I think with Jaylen, I saw someone post the other day, he liked a tweet saying Jaylen Brown is so disrespected by Celtics fans. So he's got a little animosity.
Well,
as you said, he's always the guy involved in trade talks. Always the guy mentioned in the trade talks. No,
that's annoying.
My only point is if you're Boston, you're trading a guy that has 2 years left on his deal for 4 years left on his deal. And granted, Kevin Durant is proving right now that doesn't matter. He can still demand a trade. He can demand a trade today with 4 years left of his deal. Next year, if he doesn't like his new team, he can do it again to a team with 3 years left if he really wants to.
Well, Durant would be the guy there. He just would. He would be the guy. He would be the guy. And, we talked about this at the finals.
By the way, my answer is yes. I would 100% trade Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant.